you're wondering why the suit, ask Iron Man. He is nobody without the suit. Anyways, have we built the smallest custom ITX PC build ever? Let's find out. Here she is. And I suppose you want to know all the specs about this thing. First of all, design challenges. We're using a ITX mini ITX board. That is stock, unmodified backplane. Same with the graphics card. The graphics card is completely unmodified. So it's been fitting into this case as is stock standard. That was the first design challenge. Obviously the second design challenge is how do you make it as small as possible, and with the help of this power supply, can't remember off the top of my head where I got this from, but it is a Flex gallium nitride power supply. Gallium nitride is a new transistor that has a much lower switching current, which means much lower temperatures. And with this one passively cooled, there is no fan to cool this power supply, even though it's delivering 250 watts. You will see gallium nitride in power supplies coming out probably sometime next year. I don't know actually, maybe they'll never come out, but in this case, they're being used. They're used in EVs, very high powered devices, reducing the amount of heat that's generated, etc, etc, etc. Probably not the most interesting of things for you guys. Specs, technical specs. CPU went with a 120 watt TDP CPU. That's the AMD 8-core 7700X. It has integrated graphics, which is actually quite handy because we add that extra little screen. That extra little screen can be driven off the integrated graphics, and you can run your video games off the main graphics card and they will work just seamlessly together. Very, very useful. Alternatively, we could actually have built a integrated graphics card computer, but then it would not be a gaming computer if it had integrated graphics. I mean, get out of here, no one uses that. Graphics card, like I said, stock standard. This is a 4060 gigabyte, MSI GeForce Aero. It is an ITX sized graphics card. Very, very handy. It's probably one of the few that will actually fit into this case. In the BBC version 1 of our prototype, we're using the 240 watt power supply. It's from HD Plex. Here I have the 500 watt power supply, and unfortunately just a little bit longer, so cannot be used for the smallest gaming PC build ever, but this definitely is going to be useful when we're building our BBC 2, which hopefully will house a 4070 card. Cooling, lowest profile CPU cooler from Noctura in black, obviously for the BBC, trying to get as much black into it. BBC paint is actually Musso Black. Musso Black is one of the blackest paints that are available. That's why in some of the shots you can see that it's super saturated and you can barely tell that there's any detail there. RAM, yeah, 32 gigs. 32 gigs for an 8-core processor, not too bad. That's 2 gig per core or thread. Sorry, 2 gig per thread. Okay. Yeah. So, back to the question at hand. Is this the smallest gaming PC build ever? Obviously custom built. Here are the rules. ITX board, cannot be modified. Graphics card cannot be modified. This is a 2-slot graphics card, and obviously I've kept it stock so you can pull it out and you can resell it and whatnot. And this actually determines the maximum build volume that you can use. Now, this is a 3D printed case, so obviously I've had to bulk up and make this a little bit bigger. Onto dimensions. Across the top here, this is the key dimension that is almost unchanged. Actually, a lot of these are unchangeable, but I have gone with 97 across the top, 97 millimeters. The board and the graphics card cannot go any closer together. There is too much peripherals on the back of this, and you've got to allow for space for the riser card that's in between. You've got this little tab here, that's got to clear this back plane. So 97, I have 2 millimeters for the walls on the side, so you potentially have 4 millimeters that you can remove. That brings you down to 93 millimeters side to side, but I would still need a panel, so let's call it 94 millimeters. 94 millimeters is the smallest size that you can really design this for. Front to back, 180 mils. You can squeeze that in obviously by the 4 millimeters, that is because I use 2 millimeter walls for my 3D printing. But you can squeeze those 4 millimeters down to 1 millimeter, obviously with a metal frame, but you can't really go much smaller. The size of the ITX board is 170 plus a little bit on the front face, or the back face, whatever you want to call it. So also, you need cabling to wrap around on this side, and that is the power cabling for the, you can see here you've got the power cabling. So 180 on the width, and then top to bottom is 182.25 millimeters. You might think, oh yeah, you can definitely make that a little bit smaller on the top here, but in actual fact, the back plane is offset a little bit, so you don't really have too much room to move. And on the top you have the wraparound of the riser card feeding it. So you could probably get this under a 3-liter build. This particular build itself is actually 3.18 liters approximately. You know, the 3D build obviously isn't as exact, but the design itself is to those measurements. Is it the smallest that you can build? Obviously you can squeeze it down just a little bit, but there is absolutely no room anywhere, and this power supply and graphics card really are the deciding factors on it. Because unless you make these smaller, you cannot make this build any smaller. Hence, this is the platform for our BBC, which is Black Box Computer. It is the smallest design that we could come up with. I certainly had a fun time doing this. It's something that I've wanted to do for a very, very long time, which was to build a sleeper build that, you know, everybody would look at and go, oh my God, you got a crappy little computer. It's like, no, I don't. And if we can get a 4070 into this size, then it would really be that sleeper build that you want to have. Now, in the videos, you'll probably see that we've added an LCD screen on the side and a holder on the other side for the little keyboard. These really are sort of an optional extra, like the front panel, the beautiful work that we did, Geiger inspired. those elements are not really considered as part of that sizing scope. So we went with, let's build the smallest platform that we can, and obviously let's customize it for future builds. So in future ones we might actually do something like, I don't know, what's a theme? Shit. We wanted to build one of these for Space Marines Warhammer. Yeah. Why is it beeping at me? Space Marines Warhammer. Yeah. So obviously we can customize the front. Too tall. Obviously we can customize the front for certain themes like Space Marines. I might be doing a custom build for Space Marines. Trying to use the 4070 obviously. Potentially, no. Scrap that. 4070, I've got to get a 4070 in it. You know what the coolest thing would be is if I could get this water cooled. If I can get this baby water cooled, like the power supply water cooled, the everything, I reckon that's going to be a freaking monster. Absolute monster. If I can get it into that size. Maybe that's the next thing. That's the next pissing contest. Who can make this? I mean, I don't care if people make something a little bit smaller than this. I've already done it. That's it. No more pissing contests required. Not from my end anyway. But up the ante. Let's get a 4090 in here. Wouldn't that be cool? Oh, that's a challenge. That's a fucking challenge. You know why? See this power supply? That probably won't even support a 4090 unless I put in like a really crappy CPU. If I put in an AMD, I don't know, quad core AMD, and actually not even AMD, Intel's are making non-performance cores. You know, downsize it, make it use like, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20 watts and then dedicate everything to the GPU and the water cooling. That might actually work. Could give that a go. Going to have this made out of aluminium. I know a foundry and I'm going to be speaking to them. Hopefully they will be able to CNC or cast and CNC the panels, and those might be available to our subscribers, which is the key component. If you want to get your hands on this bad boy for free, you have to join the club, because obviously I've built this, I've finished making it. The Crimson Market enjoys building machines like this and showing them off, but once we've done it, we would much rather give this to one of our subscribers as a reward for supporting us, and it could be you. All you have to do is join. So what we do is we build computers like this and we reward these to our members. If you would like to become a member and possibly get your hands on this computer for free, all you have to do is join the club. You can even do a one-time membership if this is all that you're interested in. We have zero obligations available. We're not arseholes about it, but even if you subscribe for a monthly, you can cancel at any time. We're not horrible in that regard. SSD, solid state, little M2 in there. Yeah, I buy the fastest ones that I can get because I know that the speed of the drive is probably more important than the actual CPU. You get much bigger performance out of that. You get a bigger performance boost out of that loading than your RAM and CPU. Although if you buy a really shitty, like a Celeron processor, don't expect too much, although you could run Quake on it. One of the best games ever. Speaking of Quake, love it, love it. Getting your legs chopped off. That's the size. Pretty small, huh? Why did we build this? Other than a pissing contest. One of the reasons we built this was because while Max was on his journey to get a diamond for a computer build, you'll have to ask him about that. While he was there, he couldn't do any video editing, and a BBC like this would have been super handy for him to be able to do video editing and rendering, because you just have that little bit more power than a laptop. We benched this PC and it came up above the gaming laptops on 3D Mark. I didn't really look into it too much. I'm sure we can throw up a splash screen of it. But in any case, having that little screen there means that if you're in a hotel, you can just sit down, chuck a couple of your videos on there, render them and upload them. Can be a really, really handy thing in a tight situation. So that was one of the motivating factors, and we probably will build ourselves one of these for our journeys as we travel around the world, hopefully. Present more content, make more videos. What else? What else? I just remembered. RAM. I had to keep it down low because it has to fit flush within that volume. So these ones are nice and low. You can get these with a bit more of height. The bigger ones, maybe not. That was one deciding factor why I went with 32 gig. As we improve, LED button, Terminator button, nice little pipe. If you guys would like to get your hands on this bad boy, all you have to do is join our club. We build fantastic PCs like this. We try to build one every month, and the artwork is the joy that we get is making it afterwards. We also feel the joy when we give it as a reward to one of our members, and when we see that they've got that at their home and they're having a great time with it, that is a reward in itself for us. So it's one of the motivating factors as to why we do this. If you want to get your hands on this, go to our club page, thecrimsonmarket.com, visit the club, and you can subscribe, or you can just join for a month if that's what you want to do. It's up to you. And this could be yours. Could be yours, absolutely free.